Hello, Carol.
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you for the link, by the way.
I should treated that, but she's just come.
She's a sweetheart. Yep.
Hello, Liz. You're muted.
Like that.
That's it.
Ah, it says mute. I thought.
Well done.
Anyway, it was just cleaning the camera last time. You know, I was all funny, and it's all just a little cloth, and it all went right.
Good.
Yes, that's okay. Sequence view, galleries view. Oh, there's plenty of people. Mm-hmm. Not many yet. Not many.
Yes, nice and early.
Yeah.
So how are you both? And I can't see Katia, Pigpin, or Shaheen, but I know you're there, and Francoise. I can't see you, but I know you're there.
Yes. And now it makes a difference. You know, instead of running, we have plenty of time to get all ready and everything.
Well, you look very relaxed there, Liz. So.
Yeah, I'm working on it. Yes, it's good. Oh. I don't know, Carla. Just hope.
So Liz, Carol has known Geshe for a very long time.
Ah, right.
She's a regular at Jamyang Buddhist Center.
Ah, right. Well, I live in the West. Hello.
Hello, love.
Yes. Gosh, beautiful tankers.
Very nice, thank you.
Yes, wonderful.
All right, well, all early crowd. Have some tea.
I have a question. Do the people who look on Facebook, do they give donation as well, or is it, you know, we have to register and all that? When you're on Facebook, you don't register, do you?
You don't have to register on Facebook, no.
Yeah.
But
I'm not on Facebook, and I don't want to be on Facebook.
Actually, you are on Facebook. People
Yes.
You're live on Facebook, so you can wave to Facebook people watching.
Oh, right, like that. I see. Oh, you can't stop the progress. I mean, this is it. You don't know what's happening. You get a little finger in it, and everything is displayed. Yeah, well, that's it.
Yes, but that's a good question, Liz. In that, yeah, anyone can come and watch on Facebook as long as they know it's happening.
Right.
You can come and watch. You know, that's the way Facebook is set up, I think.
Yeah.
But if you want to be seen and join in and ask questions and for Geshe to see you, then you need to register. And because
it makes sense. It makes sense.
And one of the main reasons that we have the registration is that there's only 100 slots available. So now it's okay. We've got around 45 people every week, so it's all right. But when Geshe first did his Q&A, we were right at the edge of the 100 mark, and so we had like 96, 97. So we were a bit nervous about letting people join without registering, because it would mean that people wouldn't be able to join.
Yes. No, I think the whole setup is a sort of something you work through the week and do this and that, and it's okay. It's not a. I think it's also nice to support Geshe. It's important because he doesn't see the people on Facebook, does he? He sees mainly the one. Yeah.
He really enjoys it.
Yeah, I think it's important for him. Imagine being that far away. Oh.
So am I pronouncing your name properly? Razvan? Razvan? Yeah. Hello, I can't hear you, but hello.
I was muted, I think, but I don't know why.
And Paul, hello, Paul, Alison.
Hi.
And Sue. And Katia, we saw you, Katia, for a minute. She's gone.
I mean, she's there. Obviously, she's there.
Hello, Katia.
Hello.
It looks like a very nice room you're in. I like that wall hanging.
Yes, it's the living room.
It's, what? Living room.
The living room.
Hello, Robin.
Hello, folks. Sue, Alison,
Alison as well. Hello.
Shaheen, Liz.
Hello.
And Sue, Adam.
Hello.
Yes. Hello.
Hello, Judith.
Hello. Hello, everyone. Nice
Hello,
to see
Judith.
you.
Judith, are you in a loft? Are you in a loft? It's got like a, it looks like you're in a loft in a lovely cabin somewhere.
Me?
Yeah.
It's just one piece of our apartment that is under the roof.
Wow.
Yeah.
Light coming in.
Yes. Yeah. There's just the window in the roof. Yeah. It's just behind me. Yeah.
No, Volker. I remember when Geshe asked you, when you asked him a question and he asked you about your guitar. You did very well then, I thought. Hello, Sue.
Yeah, it's nice to join week after week. It's really great.
Nice to see everyone.
Ah, Cynthia. Barbara.
Barbara.
Hello, Barbara.
Hello, Barbara. You're muted.
I'm just coming. Hello. I always forget. Hello, everybody.
So do I.
Hi, Barbara.
Oh, whoops. I mean, it's a mind of its own anyway.
Alison Wertheimer, you're muted. I can see your lips moving, but we can't hear you. You're muted. I think it's a bit harder on the iPad. Try on an iPad. Anyway, just so you know. Yeah, I can't hear you. She's just moved. She's there. Ask her.
Hi, Sam.
Yes.
And is that Marlene or Marlene?
Marlene.
Marlene?
Yeah,
Oh.
hi, it's Marlene.
Hi, Marlene.
Hiya. Have I come up with a number again? Oh no, I got my name good.
Oh, it's you, yeah.
Number. Hi everyone. Hi Robin.
Hi, Marlene.
In case anyone needs any technical support during the
Hello, Tim.
Tim will sort it.
Hello, Judy. When you come on, you're muted automatically. It's the Zoom setting. It's how it has to happen. Hello.
Oh, look, Tim is Timothy today. Oh,
I am, aren't I? Yeah.
yes. Oh, very nice.
It's been auto-filled in by my computer.
Yeah. What's it like in Cornwall, Peter and Tree? Is it nice?
Not really. It's quite rainy.
Yeah, it's the same in London.
Nice yesterday. A good day yesterday. Sunny.
Yesterday.
Yeah, it's a long time ago.
That's the trouble with lockdown. I can't remember. I have to look what day it is. I'll be so glad when we're a bit more free. Hopefully. Look at this.
Oh, it's nearly time.
It's
Quite
nearly
a small.
time.
We're expecting more people, aren't we?
I feel like this today. I didn't really. Yeah. Maybe I should have, but we're just been a bit. Maybe it's just a late.
You sent Geshe a link, right?
Yes. Yes.
That's Dana. Can't see you, Ruth.
But we know you're there.
Yes.
It's really nice to see everyone's faces.
Hello, Julie.
My line is absolutely appalling. It may cut out at any point.
Okay.
But you want us all not to have our videos on?
I don't know. If it gets desperate, then that's helpful. But I think it's nice to see everybody. I think it's nice. Yeah. So
It's nicer for Geshe, I think, if you can see it. Okay, so I'm going to go on mute now.
Hello, Ilana.
Where's Ilana? Oh, I'm David.
Hello.
Oi.
And David.
Barbara. He knows your name.
Oh, good. Oh.
And he sees you, he says, "Oh, Barbara."
We're watching him grow up, aren't we, online?
Yeah, look at him. It's useful.
Como que ela chama tudo? Bárbara.
Oh, it sounds so much better in another language than English. Barbara. Barbara.
Radek, how are you doing?
That's Radek. Oh, there he is. Hi, Radek.
You all right?
Oh, Radek.
Radek is here.
You all right? How's it going?
I'm just a bit overworked, but good. Yeah.
You're overworked?
Yeah, I've been working all the time during the pandemic. You know, been a bit crazy, but yeah, getting there.
Has it been much more difficult to help people get to shelter from the streets?
We had lots of extra help from SADC Council, you know, so we in SADC being a bit more happy, but we still struggle. Still so many lads who don't get help, and they're evicting now all these people from the hotels. So we'll be struggling trying to house them, and yeah, it's difficult. It's very emotional, you know.
Yeah.
Just go sometimes home and I cry because I don't know what to do.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hello,
Hello. Oh, hi.
Oh, there's Geshe.
Thank you for.
Yeah, I'm listening Radik's story.
Yes.
It is, yes. Oh, yeah.
So when
Thank
you
you.
let us know, and we'll mute everyone, and then you can unmute yourself. Like, oh, yeah. So we'll mute everyone because it's past now.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. So this is our second day or second session to read this Geshe Tashi Khapa's beautiful short text to be born in a prayer for birth in Sukhavati. And we will start this gathering reading or saying the refuge and the bodhicitta lines 3 times. And as we all know, the purpose of saying these 4 lines at the beginning of the gathering is to have a positive, constructive states of mind to join this, the reading this text. And here it is done with the holding the mind, taking refuge, and the experiencing the bodhicitta, the altruistic awakened mind. Because I think all of us have taken the Buddha's teachings as our spiritual path, and within the teachings of the Buddha, I think most of us have taken the bodhisattva and the teachings, Mahayana teachings, as a main focus of the teachings of the Buddha that we follow. So because of that, then holding these 2 minds, the taking refuge and the bodhicitta, are really something very, very helpful and useful. Not only this kind of gathering, but also in the morning, during the day, in the evening, every now and then, to remind ourselves, that we have a refuge, the Buddha as our teacher, mentor, his teachings as a means and methods to apply in our everyday lives, to enhance those helpful, useful mental states and activities, and to reduce, to minimize those unhealthy, unhelpful attitudes and activities, and taking the Sangha as our spiritual friends and supporters, and taking the 3 jewels as a refuge, not only when we are having difficult times or when we are having good times, but all the time, until to experience the fully awakened mind, enlightened mind, until that happens. Not only oneself, but also all living creatures. So holding that mind is something very, very meaningful. And then, the beginning of the day, during the day, in the evening, and every now and then, experiencing the altruistic awakened mind, the mind which genuinely, sincerely concerns, cares, well-beings of many, many living beings, not only in a form of concerns or cares at the mental level, but also motivated by that mind, then physically, verbally, actually engaging in whatever that we can at our level to give support to others with that mind. So that is the holding these 2 minds that we are going to start the session by reading the 4 lines together. Sanje cheda tsoje chonamala chanjo pado dane gyabzo che dage chen so jebe chonamaje dola penje sanje tobara cho sanje chedan soje chonamala chanjo bado dane gyabso che dage jinso jibe chonamaje dola penje sanje tobara cho sanje chedan soje chonamala chanjo bado dane gyabso che dage jinso jibe chonamaje dola penje sanje tobara cho. Oh, yeah. So with these two very positive and constructive minds as our motivation. Now, because of this coronavirus pandemic is still continuing, and many people had lost their life, and many people are still suffering by the virus, and many people are, suffering with the fears, anxieties, and sense of loss of their family. And so, with that, as our, the current situation, and we will once again, we will say Chenrezig mantra together several times. And while we are saying the mantra, 6-syllable mantra, the cultivate or hold a strong sense of compassion towards, all the living beings, and in particularly living beings, sentient beings who are going through this difficult time, and also, one's own loved ones, one's own friends, family members, colleagues, who lost their lives and their families, and so on and so forth. Have a strong sense of compassion, and with that compassion, we will say the 6-syllable mantra. Om Mane Oh yeah. Oh yeah, thank you. So last Sunday, we covered first and the second verses, and then from the third verse, we finished the first 3 lines. So the first verse, just to briefly recap, the first verse is, the Geshe Khapa paying homage to, the deity of, the Amitabha, that is the long life deity, which is very interesting in the sense, the prayer itself is, of course, we should say, meditate on this every now and then, but traditionally it is said, it is read in the, when somebody passed away, or when somebody in the process of, going to die. But here, the first verse, when Geshe Khapa, to follow those great teachers' tradition, before engaging in a event. Here, the event is writing this text. So that paying homage is the tradition which I mentioned. And here, the teachers, they pay homage to many different, what you call the spiritual beings, to the Buddhas, bodhisattvas, and also some of those great qualities such as compassion and so forth. But here, Geshe Khapa pay homage to, the Buddha, the Amitabha, that is the long life deity, which has a, what you call the red color, in a meditative posture. 2 hands are, in a meditative posture, and in the palm, in the meditative gesture, holding a long life vase. So 2 hands, 1 face. And there are several different long life deities, but here, Tsabak Me in Tibetan, Amitabha, Amitabha is, has that kind of color. 1 face, 2 arms, red color, in a meditative posture, in a meditative gesture in hand, holding the long life, the vase, and that is here, paid homage. And the next verse, is the verse that Geshe Khapa is briefly saying what he is going to write. And he is saying he's going to write, the prayer, the details of the Sukhavati, or the realm of bliss, the Ochen, which the Buddha Shakyamuni had praised many times. And he is going to write that, the prayer to be born in that, the realm of bliss as much as he can. And that is the second verse that we already covered. And this starting the third verse. So when I say verse, not necessarily in 4 lines. For example, in the third, there are more than 4 lines. Actually, there are, the 2 verses. And first 3 lines that we already covered. And that is, now is the main body of the text, So started the main body of the text. Geshe Khapa explains the nature of our unenlightened existence, In other words, for us, it is important to remind ourselves remind ourselves, nature of this unenlightened existence. And that is in brief, according to the teachings of the Buddha, his first teachings, that is the first two noble truths of dukkha and the noble truth of the origins of the dukkha. So in this, the first 3 lines out of the first two noble truths, and he explains the second noble truth, that is the origins of the dukkha. The origins of the dukkha is, these 3 poisons: ignorance, hatred, and attachment. In other words, affliction. These 3 afflictions, or these 3 poisons, in Tibetan called tuksum, nyumong tuksum, 3 poisons of affliction. So in the first line, that is talking about the ignorance, and here ignorance is really nicely illustrated, saying it is like the having a thick blindfold on our side, on our eyes. Therefore, we won't see anything. Similar to that, our mental states, our minds, thoughts, emotions are very much, blindfolded by the ignorance. And there are many different layers of ignorance. The ignorance in the law of cause and effect, not really clearly knowing, understanding, what are the things that we should, put into practice, engage in, and what are the things that we should avoid it, that we should discard it, in that, and what are the consequences of something that we shouldn't engage in. If we engage in, what are the consequences, and what are the consequences that we should engage in. And normally we are reluctant, or we are very much very reluctant to engage in those things. And that is what here in Tibetan, langdoro, which I mentioned last, and in English it is translated saying, right and wrong, langdoro, marik tubute. And that's due to that, by ignorant, blindfolded, our mental states, our thoughts and emotions, in a many different layers, constantly we make mistakes. And that's the first. And the second one, which is very dramatically illustrated here, saying that this hatred, anger really destroys that virtues, wholesomes that we have they result to be born in a fortunate rebirth, and through that to continue our spiritual activities. And due to arising or occurring of hatred and anger, those virtues are really completely destroyed. And that's what here it says, all future life, higher realms in the sense fortunate rebirths, murdered in the sense destroyed. And that is talking about hatred or anger. And the third one, the sekshakwe korwe zonraching, that our attachment, craving, clinging really hold us, keep us in this cyclic of existence, in this circle of birth, aging, sickness, and death, without any control that we have, without any, ourselves don't have any control, in these three sort of events, and continually in many different forms and in many different realms. And that is mainly due to the attachment, craving, clinging, and that's what here, nicely illustrated in this fourth line in English, saying, lying toasted by the ropes of desire in the presence of samsara. So these out of the, when Buddha taught, what is the origins of dukkha, then he taught two things. The first is the affliction, the affliction. And then affliction is elaborated in this case into three poisons. And as you know, it can be elaborated as 6 rude afflictions and 21 20 secondary afflictions and so forth. So, that's here. Now, today our reading will start from the in Tibetan line 4 in English, saying, I'm carried hopelessly, helplessly to the ocean of existence by a river of karma. So here, then, looking at the out of the, when the origins of dukkha is explained by Buddha, he explained 2, affliction and the karma, affliction and karma. So the karma in the actions which are motivated by those 3 poisons. And these 2 are the, if we look at as origins of the first noble truth, which is the dukkha, and so the, within these 2, among these 2, afflictions are more destructive. Karma, the negative karma, and unwholesome karma occurs, within ourselves if these 3 afflictions are there. 3 afflictions are there. Particularly the first one. Particularly the first one, which is the ignorance. As long as ignorance is there, then the attachment, aversion will occur. When these are there, then unwholesome action will inevitable, because of their power. When I say inevitable, and that's what here, this. I will just read those remaining lines from this verse. Legi chu sibe gyazo ker nage donge balap mangbe eng mise chidang chusing karchube mide donge korgi nöngyuba gome dagi nyangda maruyi. So this, legi chu, the chu here translated as a river or currents, powerful rivers. Legi chu, nyumongbe chu, sometimes in some of those great Buddhist teachers are used, to talk about why they use those, power of river or those river. When once we are in the middle of those very powerful river, we ourselves don't have that much, what you call the control. Our entire body is carried away, toasted and turned by the current of the river. Similar to that, once we are under the power of afflictions and these negative karma, then they will just what you call we don't have that much to say. I want to stop. I don't want to do this. I don't want to, due to the habit, due to the power of the affliction. And that's why here, Lady Chuo, Chuo, Chu is water in Tibetan. Chuo mainly refers to those powerful rivers. The Chuten, that means those small streams or river, river or those small streams, very shallow, very slowly following, that is called Chuten. Chuo, that really means the powerful, like those, powerful rivers. Siba, Sibe Gyazor Ker, and that those, powerful currents, powerful rivers that you take into the ocean of samsara. Why samsara is called ocean? It has this kind of image. It doesn't have that, we cannot measure its depth. We cannot measure its vastness, quantity of the water. So like that, here quite often in the Buddhist texts, this cyclic existence or samsara is quite often called korwe gyatso. Korwa is the samsara. Gyatso is the ocean. Why the samsara is called gyatso, some ocean? Because once we are in this, the circle of birth, aging, sickness, and death, due to the affliction and the karma, we ourselves just get lost, completely get lost because the vastness and the depth of, the can't see where we're going to end up, can't see and the depth. So that's why quite often, the what you call the samsara is, refers to as a ocean, korwe gyatso. Ting ta meba, korwe gyatso. Ting means the depth. Ta means the edge. Meba means there's no depth. We can't measure the depth of the ocean, but these days people do because of have the instrument and so on and so forth. So like that. Yeah. So care. So to really ourselves don't have anything to say, whether we want to go or not, by the karma and the affliction, take us to this ocean of samsara. Then while we're in this ocean of samsara, then the next line, Nageb Donge Balap Mangbui Ing, it says, tossed by endless waves of aging, sickness, and other sufferings. While we're in the samsara, if it is completely blank or flat or nothing is happening, then it is all right. While we're in the ocean, if there's no big waves, if there's no those powerful creatures, then it is okay. But it is not that. That's not the case. So it is what he is saying, the aging, sickness, and death. There comes like the endless, these powerful waves, powerful waves of aging and sickness and death. Nage dongen palap ing na ge. Now is illness, ge is aging, donge is suffering, balap, lup. Lup is mainly, those small waves, when the when we are walking along the beach, some of those calm beach, very shallow waves reach to the the shore. But if you go some of those Atlantic oceans, those and the waves are huge, like that. So that's called balap. It is not just a wave; it is powerful. This balap mangbu. It is not just one; it is endless. And take it away mangbu ing. Nage tungne balap mangbu ing. Then the next one, mise chodang chusin karchupe. It says in English, thrown to the jaws of that savage monster and the Lord of Death. Mise, chida chusin karchupe. Miseba. In other words, that sort of when we face the death, although at a certain stage when the gross consciousnesses, when those are start to cease their function, and we may not have that kind of very sense of difficulties, but the other ways, many confusion, fears, difficulties will occur unless if we have trained ourselves, if we train our minds, how to handle our mental states at the last stage of our life. That's what here used term, thrown to the jaws of the savage monster, Lord of the Death. Because death is here illustrated, savage monster. It is, there's no, when it comes, there's no difference of age, there's no difference of power, there's no difference of all those differences that we normally have in our daily lives, the age, education, status, in India, caste, power. When the death comes, there's no, what you call the differentiations. It just, so that's why it is also used the term savage monster. There's no, when time of the death comes, age will not make difference, power will not make difference, it is, how it is. So that's why here the term is used, savage monster. So then the next line in Tibetan, so here in English, to languish under the weight of unwanted suffering. So here what is happening in these lines, it is explaining the first noble truth of dukkha, in other words, Geshe Tashi Khapa is explaining the first two noble truths, relation to ourselves. If we, when that kind of nature is applied to ourselves, then we'll have a tremendous sense of yearning and longing to be free from this kind of very, very difficult, undesirable life. If we apply this nature in these lines what Geshe Tashi Khapa had explained, applying to other living beings to understand their existence, the nature of their existence, then we will have a tremendous sense of cultivate tremendous sense of love and compassion. Love and compassion. That is something important in here. When we apply this prayer, coming prayers that we're going to read, when we apply to our own, ourselves to be born in this realm of bliss, Sukhavati, we have to understand, we have to have that kind of yearning, longing to be born. And to have that yearning and longing, we have to first, we have to understand the nature of our current existence. If we are reading this prayer for the sake of others, our loved ones, our friends, and so on and so forth, and then it is important to apply these, what you call the lines, meaning of these lines, the nature of their existence. Then we will have a tremendous sense of compassion. And that compassion will motivate us to do the coming prayer, prayers. So that is something very, very helpful and useful. And in Tibetan, this in English, the line saying, without protector and with anguish cries, I ask with the devotion. And that is what in Tibetan, in the previous verse, Gome taki nyamda ngaroyi, Gome Gombo, protector, or what you call the supporter, leader or teacher, gun, and Meba don't have that. So in other words, in certain extents, although we have those great teachers, fortunately we have met the Buddha Dharma and take refuge in Buddha, and we have met all those great teachers and have listened those great teachings. But still, our situation is still very, very, what you call fragile, very, very, in Tibetan is called nyamtakpa. Nyamtakpa, it has a meaning of very, not in a certain extent, in a very poor state, very poor state. Poor not necessarily, the materially, but as a samsaric being. Poor state as a samsaric being because the afflictions and the karmas are constantly, the sort of caught up in our daily lives. And that's why here, in Tibetan, nyamda, dagi. So just, in English here it says, I ask with the devotion. So, nyamda dagi, nyamta, dagi, ngaro. Ngaro has a meaning of saying, plea, I plea. Because of my current situation, I'm in a very, very, difficult situation. In these, under these, the afflictions, karma, and the results of samsara. And with my devotion, I plea. So that's ngaro, for example, behind my window, we have there is this old courtyard, debating ceremony, old debating courtyard. Now we use for the schools prayer hall, and also turn into schools classrooms. And it has a quite relatively big courtyard. And occasionally, when those school boys, when they finish the class and evening recitation, when they go out, if they don't check whether there are dogs caught up here, then morning around 4:30, 5, then these dogs will cry, because they can't get out from the main courtyard. And so that is what you also hear ngaro. They like not really barking, but like crying begging to let them out. And that's in Tibetan sometimes called ngaro. Okay, that is these, which is really, really something useful. And a very similar, not exactly the same, quite a similar sort of writing is also there in the Geshe Khapa's 3 principal aspect of the path to enlightenment. Very similar, the writing. Now then the next verse, yila member tube, yila member tube, pangboro, yila member tube. First I will read the entire those 2 verses. Yila member tube, pangboro, pongbe nyenji temba obame, cheresama gyase tubjento, kordanchela kube soldamna, pangme keba, daja namji chere. 투조 개배 담자 많이 와 답상 조 사이 남라신 주주 똑기 제베 디식셰. So that is 2 verses. So and now what we have done so far in the main body of the text, we have understood. We have understood our own current unenlightened the nature of existence, or we have understood all living beings, all sentient beings, current unenlightened nature of current unenlightened existence, nature of current unenlightened existence. So now what we are doing here is we are requesting. We are requesting to first of all those 3 Vajrapani, that is Amitabha, the Amitabha, and Chenrezig, that is Avalokiteshvara, no, Amitabha, sorry, Vajrapani, Amitabha, and Chenrezig, Avalokiteshvara, and the Vajrapani, the Vajrapani. So here, in terms of the what we need to visualize, what we need to bring in front of us, we have to bring these 3 what you call figures. The Buddha Amitabha. Buddha Amitabha comes as in terms of the aspect. In terms of the aspect, it is exactly as the Buddha Shakyamuni. Buddha Shakyamuni, 1 face, 2 arms, that what you call wearing fully ordained monks robes, but the color is red. Color is red color, and hands are in a meditative posture, and in that meditative posture, hand holding the begging bowl, begging bowl, and that is the central figure. That is the central figure, and on his right side, in this case, bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara, and standing, 1 face, 2 arms, white color. He's the bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara's the right hand holds a what you call lotus, and left hand as a gesture of refuge, giving refuge. And on the left side of the Buddha Amitabha, then the Bodhisattva Vajrapani. So Bodhisattva Vajrapani, and usually in the Vajrayana, Vajrapani aspect is slightly different. Here, Vajrapani, blue color is blue, but as a, the one hand, the one face, two arms, blue color, and on his right hand holds a Vajra, and left hand as same as the gesture, a hand gesture of giving refuge. So those are the three main figures that we good to visualize when we are reading this coming prayers. So at the middle, on a sitting posture, on a lotus and montes, Buddha Amitabha, exactly same figure as the Buddha, the historical Buddha, fully ordained monks aspect, but only different is red color, and the hands are meditative gesture, and in that in the meditative gesture, holding the baking bowl, and on his right, Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara, white color, one face, two arms, right hand holds the what you call the lotus, left hand in a gesture, refuge, giving refuge gesture. And on the left of the Buddha Amitabha is Bodhisattva Vajrapani, and blue color, and right hand holds the Vajra, left hand in the gesture of giving refuge. So that is here. Now, in front of them, then these lines are set. So it says, without, this is already read now in second line, as witnesses to the yearnings of my mind. So it said, Yila Mabatuve Pangboru. So Yila, in my mind, in my sort of, but what I wish, what I'm yearning, longing, that I would, these three figures, and also many other Buddhas and Bodhisattvas sounded, you are the, witness, or in front of you, Buddha then says, Amitabha, guide and soul friend of deprived. So, the Amitabha is here, clearly explained in saying, soul or soul friend to the deprived living beings. Pongpa, deprived, here translated. So here, Pongpa, quite often also this term is used, to praise to Tara. Pongpa kunle number drolma. So saying, to the Tara who liberates from all the deprived living beings. So here, deprived, referring to that our, what you call the mental states. Our mental states are not rich with the love, compassion, altruism, understanding of emptiness, deprived in that sense. Because of we are not rich. Our mental states are not enriched with these realizations. Therefore, we are poor, or we are deprived, lack of this. Therefore, because of that, you, Buddha Amitabha, are the only friend, and that's what here, ila mem pongbe nyenji temba bami nyenji friend shenye she nyen nyen literally it has meaning of closeness, the nyen in Tibetan, this is also used for the relatives, blood connection, sisters, brothers, siblings, and that's not necessarily all the time closeness that we have. So anyway, so Nyenji Temple Vame. Chenrezig. So here then the same powerful, Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva, Chenrezig Geshe. So it is here the Amitabha, what you call the Avalokiteshvara is referred as a powerful. It is referring to the nature of compassion, power of compassion. The Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva or Buddha Avalokiteshvara, deity Avalokiteshvara is the manifestations of the power of compassion of all the Buddhas. All that's what here, the term Chenrezig, Chenrezig, here the Amitabha, Avalokiteshvara, and Sig one in Tibetan, one, it has a meaning of power. So compassion, although the what you call the wisdom, intellectual understanding are very, very important, very, very powerful. But the main, driving force within the samsara, all those the emotions like the anger, attachment, really have the power us to act. And similar to that, from the positive side, like compassion, like love, like altruism, these positive emotions really take us to act. And that is what here term power, very important term power is used. Powerful Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva, Vajrapani and the entourage. And Geshe here translated Bodhisattva, Geshe. Bodhisattva, Geshe and Gyawa refers to the Buddha, and Se refers to the sons or the daughters. That's why here the Bodhisattvas. Bodhisattvas. Vajrapani, as I mentioned, these the eight Bodhisattvas. And also they occur in the Vajrayana teachings. They all appear into enlightened being, like the Avalokiteshvara, like the Vajrapani, like the the Manjushri, Samatapatra, and so on and so forth. So when we say Bodhisattva, there are 8 Bodhisattvas, and also these 8 Bodhisattvas. And when in the Sutrayana teachings, they refers to the Bodhisattvas. In the Vajrayana, then they are in the enlightened being. So here, that's what here. So this entourage, the here. So to all the entourage, those 3 figures that we have seen, Buddha Amitabha, on his right, Avalokiteshvara, on his left, the Vajrapani, and these 3 are surrounded by all the other Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, what you call the reverently, or I sort of request what I'm going to request with the respect I'm going to request soldamna solvatava, making request. Okay, so now we will finish this part. Then the next it is like more or less talking to these great beings, saying, you, those enlightened beings, you, those bodhisattvas, for many, many eons. And you have, generated bodhicitta. You have generated bodhicitta and make the commitment. Make the commitments through with the generating of the bodhicitta. You make the commitment to support, the living beings, to support us. So it says, not forget the vows of supreme body mind. So this is, as you know, that when we are training bodhicitta, to have bodhicitta, the altruistic awakened mind, the initial stage is simply to train ourselves, to train our mind, to have the mind itself. And then at the initial stage, when the mind, that bodhicitta, is experienced, initially in a contrived, then eventually in a very spontaneous, very what you call a natural. Then at that initial stage is very much aspirational level. But then taking further step through the aspirational level to the bodhicitta with the commitment. Juksem in Tibetan. Juksem. Jukbe sem. That means bodhicitta with the engaging in deeds, bodhisattva's deeds. To do that, then we have to make the commitment. Make the commitment to going to engage in bodhisattva's deeds, traditionally such as the 6 perfections, or any kind of serving living beings. It is very nicely illustrated by Shantideva in his first in his Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life. I think in the first chapter. Doa dedam doai chida chidar shebada. Tishin kebe tinyi. Fourth line is not coming. Doa dedam doai. That means a person who has a strong desire to go to visit, want to visit somewhere, but then also actual taking the journey. Similar to that, aspirational bodhicitta is in a strong form of aspirational to serve all living beings. But when the engaging bodhicitta is cultivated, then it is the actual, the activities, actual engaging into the deeds, into the activities. So in that stage, then we make the full promise to the living beings, saying, I will support, I will work for the sake of you. And this is what here, these lines are talking about. Not to forget the vows of the Supreme Bodhicitta made over countless eons for our sake. So in other words, you like all the visualization of these 3 figures at the center and all those Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, but you are dealing with them as a real, real, having like the conversation, and that is something also helpful and useful to ourselves when we are, engaging in this kind of practice. In Tibetan, it is the 2 lines are reversed. That is what in English, made over countless eons for our sake. And This is in the first line. Not to chok, tuk chok. Tuk literally it means mind. Chok is supreme. In other words, within of course bodhicitta, among the many mental states that we can experience, bodhicitta, the altruistic awakened mind, is the most what you call the meaningful, useful, important mental state. That's why it is called supreme. Here in Tibetan, in English translated supreme, in Tibetan chok, tok chok jeva, generated, cultivated. For eons, many eons, you have cultivated and make that promise to serve living beings. That's tujo jeva tamcha, manyewa. Then the dapsang zo hai lam la shing, zudu to yitseve dishishe. With that kind of situation, you come to in front of me, like those powerful birds. Here translated Garuda hawk. In other words, those powerful the birds, the floating in the space in sky. Suddenly they appear in front of you, like that. This is nicely illustrated. And like the mighty Garuda hawk, soaring through the skies to come with the power of miracles, and to in great compassion before me. So come with the compassion, without any kind of obstacles, without any kind of obscurations. These birds, these powerful birds, unlike those small birds hopping one tree to another tree, they have to, what you call flop their wings constantly. Those powerful birds, when they fly up in a very, very high, hardly they have any, what you call they need to flop and flap their wings. Just very much, like the effortlessly, they are, flying like that, saying, just out of your compassion, appear in front of me. That is what here. So up to here is really from today's reading, the main body of the text. After the first two verses, then starting the main body, third verse, which saying all knowledge of the right and wrong covered. So from there to up to here is like the setting the stage. What happened here, really contemplated, meditated, reminded our nature of existence, unenlightened nature of our existence. Then with that, then invited these three figures surrounded by all those, Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Then, imagine or think they come, they appear, they are in front of us, because of the commitment they made for many eons, and out of great compassion, they just like a miracle, they appear in front of us. So that is the stage that we have created. Okay, so then the actual sort of prayer is not in a verse, not in a what you call the lines. It is in a loosely written that you can see, and that we will read next Sunday when we come together. Oh yeah, thank you. And now we will say the prayers to 21 Tara. Om Jesu Ma Pama Drama La Cha Tse Lo Chanze Drama Nyu Ma Pa Mo Jene Geji Lo Ta Tam Jikten Sunggun Chu Ji She Ji Kesara Che Wa Le Ne Jo Chanze Tongge Da Wa Kun Do Kangwa Jene Zikbe She Kama Tongda Tsoba Nama Ji Rabdo Chewe Rabara Chanze Sengwe Chune Je Peme Chane Nabara Jem Jemba Zunru Gado She Wa Soba Samden Ju Nyem Chanze Dejin Shebe Zo Do Taye Nabara Jawa Jem Malu Paru Jimba To Jawe Seke Shinto Dem Chanze Doda Rahon Ye Ke Doda Chota Namka Kam Jide Dombo Shaki Nende Doba Meba Guba Nyem Chanze Jaje Mela Tsamba Longla Natso Wanju Chema Chombo Rola Tesa Namanda Nijun Soji Dune Chanze Jeje Chagang Peji Paro Togo Rabdo Joma Egon Yunjang Shabdi Nende Nabara Toba Shindo Bara Chanze Ture Jiba Chenbo Duji Pao Nabara Jom Chuje Shene Chuni Denze Chao Tamje Malu Se Chanze Kunjo Sumzen Chaji Seme Toga Nabara Jema Malu Choje Kolo Jembe Rangi Veji Tsonama Chum Chanze Rabdo Gawa Jebe Ujin Veji Chenwa Bam Sheba Rabshe Toda Ra Dudan Jide Wando Zem Chanze Sashi Jongwe Tso Tamje Guba Nima Nyem Chonye Yewa Yege Honge Pongba Tamje Nabara Drum Chanze Dawe Dombo Ujen Yemba Tamje Shindo Bara Rebe Chene Ba Mene Tabara Shindo Ravazem Chanze Gebe Tama Meta Barwe Chengwe Unene Ejan Yungu Mukune Koroke Daye Pungne Nabara Jom Chanze Sashi Ngala Chake Teji Nujing Shabji Dom Chonyi Jenze Yige Honge Lemba Tembo Namnege Chanze Dema Gema Shema Nyangen Deshin Chunyem Soa Omda Yanda Tembe Tipa Chambo Jomba Nyem Chanze Kune Korwa Tavi Jaye Lune Nabara Gem Ige Chube Ngane Kwepe Ripa Hongle Choma Nyem Chanze Turi Shamne Dabe Honge Nambe Sabe Nyem Rera Menda Radam Beje Jikden Sumna Yewa Nyem Chanze Laye Zoye Nambe Rita Dajen Chana Nam Dara Niju Peje Yike Duna Malu Pane Sem Chanze Laye Zonam Jebo Pada Mena Jeden Gwene Goja Gawa Jeje Zeda Melama Neba Sema Chanze Nima Dawa Jebe Jinye Bola Vero Sem Hara Niju Dudara Shindo Tabe Rimne Sem Chanze Tini Somnam Gwebe Shive Duda Yanda Dem Duda Rona Niju So Joba Dure Rapcho Nyem Zawe Ngaje Duba Dita Chanze Wane Nishu Za Dedication Gewa Di Jiwoge Sonama Yishe Tso Shen Sonama Yishe Lechung Tamba Kunye Toba Chanjo Semjo Rembo Che Maje Panama Je Juro Che Jeba Nyamba Meba Yang Kone Kondo Pewa Kanre Rave Korve Shingamande Pendan Dewa Mandu Jongwe Chenrezig and Vajrapani Shabe Sede Pado Tenjuro. Oh yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Geshe-la.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Geshe-la. To Chenha.
How is the situation in a monastery?
It is okay. We don't have that many cases. We have few cases, and they are not that kind of very, serious. So not too bad. Not too bad. We are still keeping everything very, our control. But there are situations out of our control. So not too bad. And not too bad. I think it will take time to gradually to reduce is our current situation. And it is same in the Tibetan community. There are not that many cases. As I mentioned earlier, fortunately, the monks here and also in the Tibetan community, in the late Tibetan community, we have managed to get the majority, I think 90%, if not 95%, we are at the age above 60. We already got both, the jabs, both sort of vaccinations. So that really definitely that helped. It is, due to the sadness because, that time, early, late February, early, soon the Indian central government introduced the vaccination. The local Indians were not that much interested, or they don't have the information and so forth. So, we got the opportunity that to get the vaccine. Then now the age below 45, some of those monks and also Tibetan who have some some kind of chronic disease, they already got both jabs. But now we have to wait for a long time. There's no chance we are going to get jabs for the age below 45 because of the shortage of and also the local Indians are also, understandably, queuing to get the vaccination. So therefore, but not too bad, not too bad. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Geshe.
Thank you, Geshe-la.
Thank you, Geshe-la.
Thank you, Peter and Tree.
Judy.
Yes,
Thank you,
indeed. Thank you,
Geshe-la.
Peter and Tree. Thank you.
Yeah.
Your name.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Bye.
Bye, Geshe.
Take care, everyone.
Thank you.
Stay well.
Many thanks, Peter and Tree. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Peter.
Thanks. Yes, very much. Thank you.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye,
Bye.
Sue.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, I can't get out.
We're going to end it, so don't worry.